I thought property was passive income. Here's the truth. Let me ask you something. When you first heard about property investing, did you imagine, like myself, that you'd have money coming in every month, minimal effort, and maximum financial freedom? Because, guys, I did. I genuinely believed that property was the closest thing to passive income.
Landlords do not have it easy. And if you think they do, well, I've just spent all day carrying out maintenance on the property that I manage. It's the only one that I manage, the rest are with letting agents.
I think most landlords make very, very little money per property. In fact, many landlords make practically nothing per property.
I help struggling landlords transition into social housing. So for myself, I've been one of those struggling landlords where I've got tenants that are taking the piss, they're not paying their rent on time, they're moving in and out of the property.
But is that really the truth? It's not passive unless you build it that way. And if you don't, it can quickly turn into stress, time pressure, and unexpected costs.
Drains are getting clogged up because the tenants are putting food down the sink. And that in turn is causing the washing machine to back up and flood the sink.
I think one is the government. I think the government are really hitting landlords hard.
Well, especially those kind of small landlords.
Oh yeah, they don't hit the big landlords. They don't hit the likes of Lloyd's Bank. They hit the little landlords.
Being a landlord pays well, but when the tenancy is over and you have to clean up, it's absolutely grim.
They feel like they can do what they want when they want. And I'm in a very good position though, because around 3.5 years ago, I saw this coming and I realized that social housing eliminates 90% of the problems that us landlords get.
So in this video, I'm going to break down the reality of property investing, what actually takes your time, what most landlords get wrong, and how you can make it feel more passive. So hi guys, my name's Sabrina from Sapphire Property Investments and Ventures, and over the past few years I've built a UK property portfolio that is now worth over £450,000 on paper, and that's mainly through buy-to-lets, and I've done that through mixed-use conversions here in Nottingham. So why am I saying all this now? So guys, let's start with the dream. So if you were like me or are like me, when you think about property investing, you think about you want to buy that property, want to rent it out, and then bam, money comes in every single month.
Do you consider yourself a successful landlord?
I've got 5 or 6 mixed properties, commercial, residential. So yeah, success. I'm making a bit of money.
I'd split it. Yeah, there's no leases created already, so that means it's still on one freehold. The uplift in value is somewhere 260. It's about £160,000 of uplift on a block of 6 flats, I think you say.
So that's why I got into social housing, and I'm so glad I did, because now I can literally take a property, lease it to a social housing provider. The provider will cover all of the bills, all of the maintenance. They give me a long lease on the property.
Because they earn so much more than us and are quite literally making money off of our paychecks.
Yeah.
They have no right to say that.
Yeah.
And that's how all the gurus sold it to me, and that's how I thought it was going to be. Sounds simple, right? Doesn't it? But here's what is not shown.
They're not cleaning the shower, so the silicone is going black and mouldy. I mean, they're not cleaning anything, and that's up to them if they want to live like that. But it just then starts to lead to, mold appearing.
All the aftermath. The furnitures all must throw. All this tila must throw. This is a very good mattress. But my landlord, see, they smoke in the unit, they eat here, they drink here.
Tramps that stayed in this place don't know how to clean up after themselves. It amazes me. And if you know about steam cleaners, they really get in there. And I've been using this pretty much anywhere, in the shower, oven, mold marks, you name it.
And this is what I have found over the past few years of building up this small, when I say small, it's not the biggest, this small property portfolio of rental investments that I have at the minute.
Their landlords are giving them a termination of their lease, and they're then taking up a contract with the Home Office to move in people who have entered the United Kingdom illegally to then be housed in those houses.
I have experienced tenant issues, maintenance issues, compliance issues, issues with paperwork, chasing payments, and the list goes on.
A landlord who refused to deal with complaints from tenants has had their property seized by a local council. Tenants who lived in 18 properties in Merton in London had complaints about a lack of repairs on their homes.
Guys, let me show you what's behind me here. Now this is one of the doors that's all smashed. Now that's another door that's smashed at the bottom there, as you can see. And look at all the dirt down there. Stained carpet, heavily stained with God knows what's in there.
Tenants are responsible for all damage that is caused by negligence and misuse, but not normal wear and tear.
There's literally an invisible workload that everyone sees, and they see your success, but they don't see the work behind it. It really is almost like you're a swan.
Rents will be taken to cover repairs. The landlord will only get money after they've all been paid for.
Almost half a dozen of cigarette lighters. The bedroom wall has been damaged. Broken sink tap. And that's what I walked into yesterday.
Landlords are able to charge tenants for anything beyond normal wear and tear. If your landlord is trying to deduct money from your deposit for normal wear and tear, then get in contact with us today to see what we can do for you. Don't let your landlords take advantage of their power.
On the top half, it might seem cool, seen and serene, and gosh, you know, she's got these properties, she's investing, and that's how I do feel, to be fair.
Parasites, leeches, scum. That's what they call landlords online. And landlords, some of you think that every single tenant is out there to damage your property and dodge paying rent.
Hi Brian, the heating's still dead. My little boy's wrapped up in bed with 2 blankets and he's still freezing. Have you got any updates for me? It's getting sorted.
But underneath, the legs are going, we are swimming, there's loads of things, we are juggling plates here, there, everywhere, because if you are like me and you are a small investor or a small business owner, you are doing everything. You're your own marketing team, you're your own compliance team, and in my case, in the business that I'm in property investing,
properties have become more expensive, or mortgage rates have gone up, or Section 24 has been imposed. It's all the other chinks in the armour.
Landlords and tenants need each other. And contrary to what you see online, most landlord-tenant relationships are actually absolutely fine.
First told me on the 12th of October. It's now the end of November and nothing's been done. I said I'm waiting on a callback. These things take time.
Landlords who say that they're having a tough time, just like renters in the cost of living crisis.
You've got to be really up there with your knowledge on regulations, and you've just got to keep going.
Could you imagine being a landlord and getting that message? You'd be fuming. Hi, David. The neighbours burned down the fence between our gardens. It was 6 foot. They've replaced it with a 3-foot panel and left the rest open.
Generally speaking, the tenant is responsible for repairs that are caused due to their negligence. They're not responsible for repairs caused from normal use or normal wear and tear.
The landlord keeps promising to fix something, but never does.
This happens all the time, but it's not okay.
And then you've also got this separate issue of tenant issues, which is a whole beast within itself. This is all what makes property feel not so passive.
Burned it down? What do you mean? They had a fire too close. It caught and went up in minutes. I came home to half the garden exposed.
Is your landlord still ignoring repairs? For urgent problems like structural damage, a leaking roof, or flooding, they should act immediately or within a few days.
Again, let me just go over the biggest drains that I have found from personally going out there and doing this. It's the biggest thing, tenant management.
I wasn't even home. I'm reporting the damage. You need to speak to them. You live there. If there's an issue with the neighbours, you deal with it. Why am I only hearing about this now? Because I assumed you'd want to know your boundary fence caught fire. I now got no privacy. They can see straight into my living room.
It's not fair. It's actually a personal problem of theirs. I have no idea why they're outsourcing the payments that they should be making on their homes that they shouldn't own to us as renters. If you shouldn't own the homes in the first place. So if you're having problems with the mortgage constantly going up.
You've got messages, you've got issues, you've got unexpected issues that arise. You've got to manage tenants' expectations.
There's always going to be challenges, no matter what that is in life, with whatever you're doing. So it's just making sure that you're keeping up to date, especially being a landlord.
For example, if when they started, they came into the lease, the carpet was 5 years old, and 3 years later, that carpet is ruined. After 8 years, carpet doesn't have a life.
Why?
It's not okay if it's a serious issue. For example, if your stairs are broken or if the ceiling is about to cave in, that's a serious habitability issue and they need to fix it.
There's so many things that can come into place with that. And if you haven't got a robust system for dealing with all of this, which I've built up myself, which I'm going to talk about later on in the video, like I said, you're forever spinning plates and chasing your tail and just trying to make sure that you don't drop the ball anywhere. The next thing, maintenance. Things always break, no matter how much you plan things out. You know, it's human nature. Things always break.
All the aftermath, the furnitures all must throw. All this tila must throw. This is a very good mattress, but my landlord, see they smoke in the unit, they eat here, they drink here.
I'm about to show you guys a very disturbing video, man. And y'all wondering why they charging y'all 6 months deposit just before they let your raggedy ass move into a property. It's fucked up when good people try their best to help you out. And this is what happens to the good people. Check this video out, man. This shit hurt my heart.
So today we got a day in court for the tenant that done this damage. She left the property without paying rent and she damaged the room, left it unclean and caused a load of mess. Had to repaint the room.
And they usually break when you least expect it. So you need to plan. And even if you have planned, plan some more because something always unexpected crops up.
I had to repay my tenant £6,500. I got hit with a rent repayment order.
Like, because I asked you to leave because you did not pay your rent. I asked you to leave my house. I wasn't evicting you. I didn't want to even put an eviction on your record. I just asked you to leave my house and you do this shit?
Changed the mattress, changed the carpet. It was our worst move out to date. Her defence was that because she lost her job, she can't pay the rent. We had offered her a solution so that she wouldn't incur.
Even if you've done the biggest refurb in the world and you've just done that and everything's all fresh and should technically be working fine, is always going to be some sort of maintenance issue.
So this is the condition of the house. The kitchen, the smell is really terrible. Washing machine is wrong already. So they broke all my wardrobe, all my drawers, all my...
And we've also got to bear in mind all this stuff with AWAB's law as well. As smaller landlords, we need to make sure that we are on top of that. I know it's for sort of social housing, but things like that with damp and mould, that's another big issue in itself.
My tenant reported a maintenance issue at the property. It got worse. I was dealing with it, obviously not to the tenant standard. They reported me to the council. The council issued me with an improvement notice. It has been an absolute nightmare.
Well, underwear on the floor, everything, you see. The fridge is really super dirty.
We've got to make sure that we are on top of. And that leads me into my next point, which is compliance. The legal requirements don't stop as soon as you get a tenant in there or you've got a long-term tenant.
According to the Landlord and Tenant Act, these following maintenance tasks are your landlord's responsibility. Your landlord has to ensure that the structure and interior of your home are in good condition. This includes drains, gutters and external pipes.
Like, because I asked you to leave my house? And you wouldn't leave, talking about, Timmy, you gonna have to take me to court?
Any additional rent charges, but she didn't want to move out. So we are here today to see our day in court and hopefully get a good judgment.
You've got to keep up with this and again, put in processes, systems and processes that are going to help make your life easier as a landlord and also manage your tenants' expectations.
Your landlord has to ensure that the installations for gas, water and electricity are kept in working order. This also includes sanitary conveniences, which are sinks and baths. Your landlord has to ensure that the central heating and the boiler is in proper working order.
Because you're the landlord and it's your fence. I'm not paying for something your neighbours caused. I'm not paying for something I didn't cause either. So what are you suggesting? Either you handle it or I'll log it formally and let insurers deal with it. But I'm not living with half a boundary missing.
Hey guys, so we had a tenant whose contract is up for renewal and he sent us a message to say, I really want to stay, but I'd like to request a rent reduction of £100, please.
And again, decision fatigue. You're constantly making these calls, you're constantly making these decisions.
Landlords are also responsible for any structural repairs. This includes bathroom fitting, electrical wiring and pipes. They're also responsible for replacing any faulty appliances like a dishwasher or the oven.
They're not cleaning the shower, so the silicone is going black and mouldy. I mean, they're not cleaning anything, and that's up to them if they want to live like that.
Why are so many landlords serving notice right now? Right, there's an unintended consequence of trying to help tenants with the Renters Reform Act.
But if you do, as I keep saying, have a robust plan in place, a robust system in place.
So the estate agent will also give a copy of these electronically alongside a rent agreement, so all of that will be given to them along on a sort of like a digital sign as well to notify that they and acknowledge that they've seen each of these three things and digitally sign that and lock that away, so I've got that for future reference. But I always like to put a copy in the flats as well, just for my own peace of mind, so it's just doubling up so that I know that the tenants definitely have these.
That should reduce your decision fatigue and mitigate the risk that you're taking. So, I say all this to say, my reality.
Let's not gloss over, it is pretty disgusting and pretty mean.
It just then starts to lead to, mould appearing. The garden's covered in cat shit because they're not picking it up, and weeds are growing, they're not removing them.
First told me on the 12th of October. It's now the end of November and nothing's been done. I said I'm waiting on a callback. These things take time. Yeah, they don't take 6 weeks. With respect.
There were times where I felt like I had created another job in itself for myself rather than an investment. And this is how you've got to look at it.
The landlord is also responsible for exterior parts of the building like the roof and the chimney. However, it is important to remember that a landlord isn't responsible for fixing any repairs or structural damage if a tenant has been acting irresponsibly.
I'm just so angry that as a landlord, I shouldn't have to feel guilty about owning property or properties in our case. Why does it appear that all landlords are demonised and put in the same bracket?
How much money does the average landlord make per property that they own? Profit?
A year?
Yeah.
10 grand.
2 to 3 grand. 2 to 3 grand a year. So if you're a landlord with 2 or 3 properties, people think landlords are rolling in it. Oh, rich, greedy landlords. What, they're making like 6 grand a year?
In your head, yes, you're making that monetary investment for the long term, but you have got to look after that investment, and the looking after all adds up to why it's not so passive.
It's a 3-foot panel. It's not a replacement. My dog's already tried to run through the gap. You've lived there 2 years with no problems. I don't see why this is suddenly my responsibility. Maybe because he's a landlord.
See all the underwear, everything here. So I think they broke my wardrobe also. Yeah. So they broke all my curtains, all my lights also almost broken. Look at the toilet, there's a bathtub. I haven't gone to see the bathtub yet. Look at the curtains.
After being a landlord for 16 years, having to kick out tenants all the while, to serve them CCJs and court evictions, I'm never ever going to do that again. I officially quit from today being a landlord after 16 years.
And it's a dangerous place to be because sometimes you start thinking, like I have recently, is it all even worth it? There hopefully should be a turning point where everything changed when I realised this.
Being a landlord is an absolute hassle. You're on holidays and there's always a problem. You've got to get something fixed, a leaky thing. To get anyone into central London today to pay for their congestion charge and whatnot is at least £150, £180 just to come to get them out to diagnose a problem in the property.
And I know it doesn't take a genius doesn't take a genius to notice this, but property, it isn't passive.
Will ultimately you sell your rental property, do you think?
Yeah, or I just won't rent it out. I'll just leave it stagnant and then in 10 years or whatnot when I have to sell it because it's just too much of a hassle.
So this room is one of the worst. They broke the lock, they broke the lights. And look at the dirt, the trash on the floor.
Because people think that landlords will just put, oh, you're a day behind, out you go. No, you wait 2 months.
Yep.
Then after 2 months, you serve Section 21.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happens?
Then if they don't respond, I think it's 14 days, you then have to apply for a court order.
Hi, Brian. The heating's still dead. My little boy's wrapped up in bed with 2 blankets and he's still freezing. Have you got any updates for me? It's getting sorted. That's his response, 3 words and a full stop. You first told me that on the 12th of October. It's now the end of November and nothing's been done. I said I'm waiting on a callback. These things take time. Yeah, they don't take 6 weeks.
It isn't passive, it's the systems that make it slightly more passive. So what have I changed? I've stopped guessing, I've stopped reacting and doing things differently every time.
There's always going to be challenges, no matter what that is in life, with whatever you're doing. So it's just making sure that you're keeping up to date, especially being a landlord. Obviously, I'm here today at the National Investment Landlord Show. Why? Because I want to keep up to date with what's going on, especially with the changes that are coming into play with the Renters Reform Act.
With respect, you haven't even sent anyone round. Not once. I've been boiling kettles to run him a warm bath at night. My electric bill has doubled because of this. Don't exaggerate. I grew up with no heating, so stop being soft.
And it has to go to court.
It has to go to
You
court.
can't just go, oh, look, they're late and get the bailiffs out.
Yeah.
Has to go through the court.
Yep.
So your court case was Boxing Day.
It was the court case was actually before Christmas, but then they gave the eviction date for Boxing Day.
And I've started creating checklists, structured processes and standardised everything that I possibly can. So in my head, this is what passive really looks like.
The administrative burden now as a landlord is horrendous. And I think that is one of the untold stories, one of the untold narratives of the fact that we've seen rental properties diminish in number.
What do you think creates this us versus them, landlords versus tenants narrative?
I don't know, people just think that people are out there to make money at your expense or, greedy, money grabbers.
Are you greedy?
No, not at all.
Straight away, it's not passive. But passive income in property is making fewer decisions, it's making fewer mistakes and predictable because you've got predictable systems in place.
Properties have become more expensive, or mortgage rates have gone up, or Section 24 has been imposed. It's all the other chinks in the armour.
So tenants, your landlord can give you a property when you don't want to or can't buy a home yourself. Flexibility to move cities for work, no deposit, no maintenance.
All the aftermath. The furnitures all must throw. All this tila must throw. This is a very good mattress. But my landlord, see they smoke in the unit, they eat here, they drink here.
So you're trying to reduce your work and your problems at the same time. So this is exactly why I created my landlord template. These are born from that. These are things that I've put in place to make my life a lot easier because I needed to do something that is something repeatable, something reliable, and something that removed all of the guesswork. So guys, if you are feeling like I felt in the past overwhelmed or like property, this small property investment that you've made, if you are a smaller landlord, is taking over all of your time. You've got everything else. You've got a full-time job, you've got a family, you've got other things that you need to take care of, which was my case. Then I've linked all of this all below.
The 3 biggest headaches for landlords are late rent, empty properties, and surprise maintenance costs.
Guys, let me show you what's behind me here. Now this is one of the doors that's all smashed. Now that's another door that's smashed at the bottom there, as you can see. And look at all the dirt down there. Stained carpet, heavily stained with God knows what's in there.
And I think my biggest issue and the biggest thing that I felt difficult to deal with was managing tenants. And I mean that in the sense of managing their expectations.
I own 2 properties.
How long have you been a landlord?
Been a landlord for 4 years now.
What do you think of the Renters' Rights Act?
It's not the best thing that's come out. As always, there's always ways to get around things. There's always new additions to policies and things that can be useful as well. So it's not always negative, it can be positive as well.
Like, because I asked you to leave because you did not pay your rent. I asked you to leave my house. I wasn't evicting you. I didn't want to even put an eviction on your record. I just asked you to leave my house and you do this shit?
So again, this is why I've created these templates. So one of the things that I've done to combat that was to create a tenant welcome pack. It makes you look so much more professional. It makes you look like you care about your tenants that are moving into your properties. And the biggest thing of all is that it's going to make your life so much easier because it gives you a structured process that a tenant can follow when they are reporting any maintenance issues versus anything that might be an emergency.
Parasites, leeches, scum. That's what they call landlords online. And landlords, some of you think that every single tenant is out there to damage your property and dodge paying rent.
So I've got a red light system, and again, check this out on my website, and the link is in the description box below. But I have a red light system so that tenants can report issues. It's really easy, really simple for them to understand and to use.
I wasn't even home. I'm reporting the damage. You need to speak to them. You live there. If there's an issue with the neighbours, you deal with it. Why am I only hearing about this now? Because I assumed you'd want to know your boundary fence caught fire. I now got no privacy. They can see straight into my living room.
So that I don't get phone calls 2 o'clock in the morning that could have waited till the next day, and vice versa. I get the important calls where I can get to those issues. For example, if there's a water leak, the tenant knows exactly what to do. They can phone me so that I can get it sorted as soon as possible with at least damage to the property as possible, where time is at the essence. So that is a major thing that I have on here.
Tenants has really fell into arrears. Now they're not communicating with our office, they're not answering calls, texts, emails, they are not engaging with us.
Section 21 notice, has it been served? I had a landlord a couple of weeks ago say he could serve it by email because he did everything by email.
Another thing would be the inventory reporting system as well. This is going to save you a lot of time and hassle, and all of these things are going to save you a lot of time and hassle from going to estate agents and giving all of your profits to estate agents. And profit margins are really important. If you are a smaller landlord like myself, every pound, every penny counts.
I've been sent to the property to try and find a solution for this landlord and get things back on the right track.
So if you're giving a lot of that away in fees, management fees to an estate agent when you're able to manage it yourself, if you've got the right systems in place, then that is a bonus. So again, having a robust system for onboarding tenants and exiting tenants via this inventory report, so that if you do have an issue, everything's all documented properly and you have robust documents in place in case you need to take that to court. You've got a detailed, you've recorded and you have documented everything on your property before you gave those keys to the tenant. And it also gives you guidance on things that you need to give to your tenants as part of the tenancy. For example, the latest version of the How to Rent guide from the government, all little things like that that's going to keep you compliant. So it really, really does save you time and energy and effort. It saved me that, and it saved me spending a lot of money on estate agents where I don't have to.
But a lot of landlords, and mainly their agents, write in the agreement that notices have to be served by post, and they often don't read their own agreement, and this is why they get it wrong.
Guys, you might have seen me using a couple of these templates and systems and documents, well, some of these documents that all add up to a robust system in my eye. You might have seen me use some of these documents in Days in the Life videos that I've put out. And if you want to go back and have a look at those on my channels, for example, like the Day in the Life where I've took you through the process that I use to re-let one of my properties, and each of those will show you exactly how I manage my properties step by step on a daily basis. So I basically took a step back and looked at all of the mistakes that I've made and built solutions aimed at trying to solve those mistakes and stop those mistakes from happening again, or if they did happen again, so that I documented that and I knew why they happened. So I have checklists, I have templates, I have document templates, and I use those in a certain way to give me a robust process, and all of those working together gives me more of a robust system that I use to manage my properties from start to finish. So everything I use is structured, and instead of, keeping that in my own business, I've turned these into ready to use templates for you guys as well. Links in the description box below if you want to check these out. There's even a free checklist if you want to have a look at that, if you're not ready to take the step yet. And the starter templates, they start from $5.99, I think it's the cheapest one. They're there so that you can just fix the basics. So we've got the letting toolkit, the rental agreement toolkit, and you can get the complete system, and that's on the website as well if you want everything so it all works together. So the full landlord system, an end-to-end process and a scalable structure. It just removes all the stress and the guesswork, guys. So guys, if you are like me and you've purchased or even inherited a property or two, you're a smaller landlord, even if you're a bigger landlord, and you're starting to see that property isn't as passive as you thought it would be, then drop a comment down below with your thoughts on that. Or maybe you disagree with me and you think, and if you ever want to skip that trial and error, then go straight for the full landlord system. Again, I've linked all of these down below. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next one.